Okay, today we'll start Kuf Tezayin Amud Beis on the bottom by the Mishnah. Mishnah starts B'Shama Yemim. We thank Hashem that we're able to learn. It's chus about learning. Shall we some English immediately?
Good morning. Good morning. Did you post the Sunday shir? Because I was already on the flight on Sunday, so the whole flight I was on the plane.
Check.
So if you can just post the Sunday shir, I would appreciate it.
You want me to put it on to the?
It doesn't make a difference. You can send it to me or to the shir, whichever.
Yeah, I have both of them up. Okay, we had 2 shir yesterday. Instead we did 3 block.
Well, okay.
Put them up.
Good. So I'll listen. Thank you.
Okay. That's one. And the other one is.
So are we up to where we're supposed to be now?
We're getting there. We're right now we're doing. Yesterday was Kufiyat Ches. Today we're doing Kufiyat Zayin. So we're really still 2 days behind.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So the Mishnah starts B'Shama Yomrim Tinase v'titel Ksuba. Talking about a woman that testified that her husband passed away, and we believe her. So, but can she also get money off this? We believe her that she can get remarried, but now she wants to take the Ksuba from the husband's estate. It's going to affect other people's inheritance and everything. Well, Beishamai says she gets the Ksuba. Beisil says no, she doesn't. She doesn't get the Ksuba. She can only get remarried. Special leniency that we have in believing her that her husband passed away is that she can get remarried, but that's not for her to get money off this. Amalem Beishamai says to them, if you're ready to be lenient to allow her to get remarried, you can't be lenient to let her get some money. As it works for the stronger, for the more serious thing, it should work for the more lenient thing. Amalahem Beisil responds, just because this woman testified that her husband passed away, that doesn't mean that his brothers come in and start taking their inheritance already. If you want to say that we believe her as if it's mamish edus, then the brothers should take their inheritance. Why brothers? Maybe the children, whatever the case is. Amrulem Beishamai says no, it's different. If you read carefully the book of the Ksuba, it says we're on Kufiyat Zayin on the top. That in the Ksuba it says that if you get remarried to someone else, you can take what's here, which means if you have permission to remarry, that means either a divorce or a death, then you can take what's coming to you. You can take the Ksuba money. Now let's see, it doesn't say that in the Ksuba, which I don't think it does. But I guess the idea is that once permission is given to remarry, that's the intent of the Ksuba, even if it doesn't say it clearly, then that would be the intent of the Ksuba. So then she could take it. So in other words, it's not that there's a testimony here regarding a death and she could get remarried. There's a testimony here about money and that she could take the money, the Ksuba. No, there's a testimony about the death. And an outcome of that is that the husband agreed that if you have permission to get remarried, you take this money.
Is this still the case where she's the witness?
Yeah, even if she's the witness. Yeah, so she could get the money because of that was part of the deal. It's like a direct outcome. And Beis Hillel retracted And Paskin's like Beishamai that she can get the ksuba. And there's a discussion here if it's based on the last statement of Beishamai or if it's for another reason. Okay, Amar Rav Chizda. Nesyabma. Let's say she does Yivam with the husband's brother. Yivam nichnas lanachla al pia. He does get the inheritance. Well, that's a monetary case. Usually monetary cases require two witnesses. There's only a leniency here for her to get remarried, which is a one witness or even a puzzle witness. So this is very interesting. Rav Chizda explains, Heim darshu medrash ksuba anole nidrash medrash Torah. If they can learn from the ksuba, so we can't learn from the Torah. It says Yakam al shemachav amrachman avarikam. He establishes, he stands up to take the name of his brother, and he stood up. Here he is. So that means he gets the inheritance. Rav Nachman says, Basal bezdin v'amra meis baili hatiruni li nasi. She shows up in Bezdin. She says, my husband passed away. Give me a permission to get remarried. Matir naisali nasi v'naisin l'ksubasa. We let her get remarried, and we give her the ksuba from the husband's estate. Tenuli ksubasi, let's see, she shows up in court. She says, give me my ksuba. Afli nasi and matir nai. So then we don't allow her to get married because she's turning this case into a monetary claim. And for a monetary claim, you need two witnesses. Someone's got to tell her outside what to say. Let's say my timer, 1 second. She's coming for money. Ibailo, I have a question. She says both. Mahu. What's the din? Since he mentions the ksuba, it must be that that's her whole intention. Or maybe, no, in the Bezdin, a person will spell out everything. He's itemizing all of the claims, but she is. But what's her main claim is that she wants to get remarried. Just because she mentioned that also, that doesn't mean that's it. That's her main point. If we'll say that everything, a person will say to the Bezdin, so in other words, they don't want to leave anything out. A lot of times people come to Bezdin and they just have a whole story, and the Bezdin asks them like several times, so what is your claim? What do you want? They say, well, I want the thing, he did this to me. So tell me what you want. And it takes like a few times till the person like says, well, actually, he works it out that he just wants whatever. And they haven't really worked out. They just know they're upset about something. So here, the person says everything. Okay, so let's see what happens now. Tenuli ksubasi vatiruni li nasimau. She says it the opposite way. She says, give me the ksuba and allow me to get married. Hacha over here, vade adaita the ksuba say. She's definitely coming for the ksuba. That was her first comment. Or maybe or maybe she really wants to be permitted to be remarried. She doesn't know what's the best thing to say. She thinks that maybe if she asks for the ksuba, that's going to be. She doesn't know what's the best claim, but she wants to get remarried. So take it. We leave this as a question. It's interesting that there is, it sounds like there's an opening statement in Bezdin, and then you're stuck. That's what it's like. They can't ask her, well, do you mean that you want to get remarried? You know what I'm saying? Like, you only get one chance at your opening statement, and then you're, yeah. So you need one witness there. So here we also have one witness. Turns out that it's her. So we believe her that she can get remarried because she would never remarry if her husband wasn't really dead. because she's going to be in such trouble when the husband returns. She can't be married to the husband. She loses the ksuba from the husband. She loses the second husband. She can't be married to him. She's in such trouble that she would never do that. She puts herself in an unresolvable. Now, the question here is, but for monetary things, maybe, people do, they do all types of stuff. Okay. The question is, what the discussion over here is that the monetary claim is like a direct outcome of her allowing her to get remarried. Mishnah, new Mishnah. How many is this? I think it's 5. Everyone can testify that her husband passed away, except for 5 enemies that she has. Who's the first one? Her mother-in-law. Mother-in-law possibly wants to get rid of her. So she says, yeah, her son died. That's what she says. That way, she gets her married to someone else. The son comes back. She's already forbidden to him. No, it's really not true. She's not necessarily forbidden if there's a witness. Maybe she's considered a nightness. It wasn't so clear. If there's 2 witnesses, she's not forbidden. If there's 1 witness, maybe she is. But anyway, the mother-in-law doesn't necessarily know the halacha. She just knows, all she knows is that she wants to mess up the daughter-in-law. What else? There's Bas Chamaisa, the sister-in-law. The sister-in-law, this is her mother-in-law's daughter. The Gemara is going to give us 2 options why the sister-in-law hates her so much. One is because she hears her mother always saying bad about the daughter-in-law. This is the daughter of the mother-in-law, right? It's not right. So she like mother like daughter. So she also hates the sister-in-law. Another reason is because she's eating from the house of they go for Yom Tov or whatever, they go over there. She's eating all the food. She wants to get rid of her. She doesn't want to share the Sarasa. This is an obvious one. This is the rival wife. The only problem with the rival wife is that they're sharing one husband. Right. She's getting herself into trouble as well. Possibly. She's claiming. How's it going to work? Well, a woman says that her husband passed away. The other wives can't get married yet. I thought we had clearly that the other wives could. Didn't we say that clearly? Now we're saying they can't. The Yevimta. This is. Good morning, Etzi. This is the brother-in-law. The brother-in-law's wife. She's afraid that she's going to end up with her husband. So for some reason, she messes it up first, where this is an odd thing, but in hatred, it's hard to know like what she's doing. She would really want this woman's husband to live forever, because she doesn't want another wife in there. But somehow she wants to mess it up so she's going to end up marrying her husband right away. And then somehow the husband's going to come back and then we'll get rid of her. Yeah, it's a weird one. Sometimes there's these people that they can't wait for the worst thing to happen. So they like make it happen right away. They call it like, I read a Massadist or something, like Masada. Massadist. It comes from the Masada, where they're afraid they're going to get killed, so they kill themselves first. They play out with the worst thing that could happen before it happens. They flip over the board game before they lose. Can't handle They're actually losing, so they make them. Okay. V'yavimta that we said, Baspaila. Baspaila is another. This is really a daughter-in-law, but it's not. No, it's not a daughter-in-law. This is a stepdaughter. Stepdaughter. Okay. These 5 people are not trusted. Ma bin get lamisa. Why is it that they're trusted to bring a get? You know, when someone brings a get, they have to say b'fanei nechtam, that it was written and signed in front of them, and then possibly there's a follow-up question of, so was it written lishma and all of that. So that they are believed. The answer is shaksav mechiach, because once you have a get, then you already have a basis for the testimony. Over here, there's not necessarily any basis. The Gemara is a question. Let's say it's not the mother-in-law's daughter. We said that Bas Chamaisa, called it the sister-in-law. Now we're asking about another sister-in-law, but it's not the mother-in-law's daughter, it's the father-in-law's daughter. So it depends what's the reason why the sister-in-law has such a hatred. Time of the Bas Chamaisa is the reason that the mother-in-law's daughter hates the sister-in-law, Mishum Dika Ema de Sanyala, because the mother-in-law hates her. So Hinami Sanyala, so she also hates her. But over here, her mother doesn't care about this girl because she didn't marry her son. This girl's mother is not even involved. She's a second wife of him. But here she doesn't have a mother that hates her mother doesn't hate this daughter-in-law. She's eating my mother's food. She comes for Yom Tif, whatever. She's eating my father's food. Doesn't matter. She hates her because they can't share the space. Tashma, so come and listen. Everyone is believed, everyone is believed to testify that the husband passed away except for 5 women. And if the Bas Chameha is believed, if the father-in-law's daughter is believed as well, Shishavi, Havyan, then there really are 6 women that aren't believed. Okay, so it's pretty clear that this woman would be believed. She's not one of the exceptions. The Gemara says, "Dilma time of the Bas Chamaisa damar kachal legirsa the beinasha, leishna Bas Chamaisa leishna Bas Chameh." How do you know? Maybe we said Bas Chamaisa, but we really mean Bas Chameh as well. It's the same thing. If the logic is the same, then we don't have to itemize it. It all goes under the same category. The Gemara says, 1 second, va'anan tanan chutz misheva nashim. But we have another place that says, except for 7 women. The Gemara says no. That is Hahi Rabbi Yehudahi. That's Rabbi Yehuda's view. And it's not counting the Bas Chameh. The Tanan, Rabbi Yehuda Meisav Af Eishes Ava Akala. Rabbi Yehuda adds in that there's 2, this is Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Lai. He says that there are 2 more women that aren't believed. One is Eishes Av, a second wife of the husband, second wife of the husband's father. And also Va'akala. And also this woman's own daughter-in-law. It's also not believed. They said Eishes Av B'chlal Basabal. Eishes Av, the see, her husband's father's wife, not the husband's father's mother, but her husband's father's wife is the same status as the husband's daughter. It goes both ways. Now it turns out
There's no brothers. Purpose was up to his father,
right,
so his wife tends to benefit if it
right,
comes that direction.
right. But here we're saying that it really works both ways. That if the father's wife, see, the only thing is I'm not sure if when the Gemara over here says Eishes Av means her father's wife or his father's wife. No, it doesn't make sense. It has to be her husband's father's wife. Okay, so they responded, Eishes Av Harei B'chlal Basabal. In Kala, Harei B'chlal Chamaisa. A daughter-in-law is the same as the mother-in-law. One thing is that the Eishes Av is not a perfect match because, say mother-in-law, daughter-in-law. So we say the mother-in-law can't testify for the daughter. So, okay, so Rabbi Yudad's in, the daughter-in-law can't testify for their mother-in-law. So they just say, well, that's the same thing. If she can't testify for her, so she can't testify for her, back and forth. But the Eishes Av is her husband's father's wife. We're saying that's the same thing as Bas Baila, as the daughter of her husband. Not really the same thing as the daughter of her husband. It's her husband's father's wife. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda, what does Rabbi Yehuda say? When it comes to the mother-in-law, Sanya Lakala, she hates the daughter-in-law, the Kamra Kachale Gersani, because she says the daughter-in-law is eating her food. So she wants to get rid of the daughter-in-law. Elakala, but the daughter-in-law, my time is Sanya Al-Chamaisa, why does she hate the mother-in-law? Bishlema Basabal, if it would be the daughter of the husband, the Sanya Leishasav, she hates the father's wife, the Amra Kachal Gersani, because she says that wife is eating her food. Ka'achla Gersani, the aim, the food of her mother. Ela Eishasav, my time is Sanya Labasabal. But why does the father's wife hate the husband, the daughter of the husband? So Elamai Maisif Tarti. So if that's the case, what is Rabbi Yehuda adding? Right, he's adding two. Elakala my time asan elachamais. We're going back. We're saying that why does the daughter-in-law hate the mother-in-law? The Megal Libna called Avda. Apparently, they're in the house together often, and the mother-in-law tells her son, your wife is a good for nothing. She sits on the couch all day. She doesn't clean up. She's lazy. So the daughter-in-law hates the mother-in-law. The husband is out at work. He doesn't know what's going on. Comes home. The kids made the mess. Okay. The father's wife also hates the daughter of her husband, the Megala Avia called Avda, because she tells her father everything that his wife is doing. Because the father is out at work, comes home, and the daughter tells her that your wife doesn't do anything in the house. Okay, Rabbanan. Why don't the Rabbanan add this in? People that aren't trustworthy. It says Kamayim Apanim Lapanim Kain Lev Adam Ladam. They hold that if it works one way, it works the other way. That if one person hates the other one naturally hates back, just like water reflects the face. So to the heart of man reflects the other person's feelings for him. Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Yehuda says, that's actually referring to Divrei Torah. Rashi here gives two pshat, and one pshat is that a person that puts his heart into Torah, then the Torah stands for him. In other words, he'll remember it. If he works on it, he'll remember it. Another pshat Rashi brings that if the teacher smiles at the student, then the student gets smart, and if he doesn't, then he won't learn from him. We had another Gemara like this, a Gemara in Tainus said, how come the student wasn't successful? Because the teacher didn't give him a smiling face, something he wasn't able to learn.
I thought didn't give him a trophy.
Okay. Amar Ravacha Baravia says, Boyim b'Marava, they asked in the west. That means in Eretz Yisrael. Chamaisa ba'alachar mikan mahu. It's referring to a mother-in-law that just showed up. Now, what does it mean, a mother-in-law that just showed up? She's married to the husband. How does the new mother-in-law show up? What it means is that it's a new potential mother-in-law because she now married to her husband's father. This new woman is married to her husband's father, has a child. If her husband dies, she's going to end up being the mother-in-law of this woman because of a Yevama, because she's going to be the Yevama. So she's a new mother-in-law. She had a son together with her father-in-law. So mi maska daita demisbal v'nafka kabiyam b'sanila. Does she hate her already, even before the husband dies, that she's afraid that the husband's going to die, she's going to end up being the mother-in-law, so therefore you can't trust her now? I lie or not? Tashma, so come and listen. Now, is there a hatred before anything happened yet? Amra meis baili v'achkach meis chami. She says, let's say she shows up in court. She says, my husband passed away and my father-in-law passed away. They're both on a trip together, a father and a son. And there's two women. And both of them are going to need to get remarried if they died. So the daughter and the son's wife says that my husband died. She must have been there. And the father also died. So who's allowed to get married here? Tinase v'titel ksuba. The daughter that's claiming this is allowed to get married. But the mother-in-law is not. Remember, we said that the mother-in-law, that the daughter-in-law is not trusted for the mother-in-law. And we said that. So she's testifying about the mother, that the mother-in-law's husband, her father-in-law died. We don't believe her. My time, why is the mother-in-law not allowed to get married? You see, the problem is that right now, if you believe her that her husband died, then this woman, the mother-in-law, is not her mother-in-law anymore. So we should believe her automatically. If the husband died, then she's not a mother-in-law, and she could testify about about her deceased husband's father, that he passed away also. Oh, so 1 second. So it must be that we don't really believe her, that her husband died. And that's why this woman still is the mother-in-law. So what's she saying? Why is she saying this? She's just trying to mess up her mother-in-law. But while she's doing it, she's messing up herself, because she's now permitted to get married. And she's going to be in big trouble when the husband comes back, because we believe that the husband's still alive. So several abasar shaita leitestate titstaran. She's hoping that when the husband comes back, at that point, they'll be forbidden to their husbands, and she won't have trouble from the mother-in-law anymore. Even though right now she is the mother-in-law. She's hoping for the future that if the mother-in-law gets remarried, so then she won't be her mother-in-law anymore. She'll be married to someone else, and she'll be forbidden to the first husband. So you see what's happening is that she really cares not about that the mother-in-law is bothering her now. She cares about that in the future. She cares about the future hatred. So if that's the case, that she cares about the future hatred, so then here also maybe she cares about the future mother-in-law is also an issue. In other words, the mother-in-law that hasn't, the Yevamos mother. That's, we're talking about the future mother-in-law.
So that, this list applies even if the one on the list was planning to testify in favor. Because there's a list of people who were disqualified.
Right.
Because they stand
Of some sort of hatred, right? Some sort of benefit.
want to testify in a way that to get helps her.
You'll see. You'll see. That's going to come up. Where did I see that? Where's the Gemara? Thomas Nafshi? Oh, that's on the next Amud. You'll see it on the next Amud. Yeah. The Gemara says, Dilmashani Hasam Deragish Leitzara. You can't compare. You can't say this woman already had pain from the mother-in-law and she's worried about the future pain. So that's why we don't trust her. But someone that never had any experience with this woman, we don't say that because in the future there may be a problem. So therefore she's already going to lie about it now. Okay. New Mishnah. Eidaimer Mace. One witness testified that the husband had died. Finishes, so the wife got married. Okay. It's not the end of the story. Another witness shows up and says the husband did not die. Now there's trouble. The rule is, she's allowed to stay with her new husband, even though there's a witness that came that said that the original husband is still alive. We don't trust that witness. It's not like he showed up. It's just a testimony. If he showed up, it would be a different story. Let's say one witness said that he died. Two witnesses showed up that the husband is still alive. Even if she's married already, she has to get divorced. Because the two witnesses is already a true something that we accept. Two witnesses said that the husband died, and one witness says that he didn't die. Even if she's not married yet, she's allowed to get married. We don't believe the one witness if there's two witnesses there. Back to the beginning of the Mishnah, it said if one witness said that the husband died and she's married, and then another witness comes and says that the husband did not die, she doesn't have to get divorced. Even though there's a witness that's just contradicted the first witness. Gemara says, Taima denisis. What's the reason why she doesn't need to get divorced? Is because she was already married. Halainesis, but let's say she wasn't married yet. We just had the witness that came and said that the husband died and she's permissible to get married. We would say then, Laitinase, that she can't get married. Because we only said that she doesn't need to get divorced, but does that mean that she's allowed to get married also? That we didn't say. The problem is, Ula says, if the Torah believes the one witness that she's allowed to get married, so then that's considered like there's two witnesses, as if there's two witnesses. So now, right now, she's allowed to get married. So comes along one more witness and says, no, the husband did not die. But this witness we shouldn't believe because the Torah believes a witness that says that the husband did die. A husband that did not die was never something that was given to a one witness. So it's really two against one, even though it's one against one. But the Torah believes the one that says that he did die. It's a special halacha that he minatere dachan. So it's two against one. So why are you telling me the first witness says that the husband died? Second single witness comes and says he didn't die, saying that she can't get married. She should be allowed to get married because the first witness that came is considered like two. Umar says, Hachikama, you're right. Doesn't mean that she doesn't have to get divorced. It means she doesn't go out from her permissibility to get married. She's actually allowed to get married. Leitetze doesn't mean that she doesn't get divorced. Leitetze means leitetze mehetere rishon. Even if she was never married, she's allowed to get married. Not never, she was married once to the first husband. Even if she didn't get remarried, she's allowed to get remarried. Exactly the way we understood that Ula would say this. Eid Aimer Mace. If one witness said that the husband died, and two witnesses showed up and say that he didn't die, it says that she has to get divorced. It says Pshita. It's obvious. You have two against one. It says Dein Dvar Shalachan Makim Shnayim. The testimony of one person can't stand in the presence of two witnesses. It says Leitzriche Bepsuli Eidas. We're not talking about that these two witnesses are kosher witnesses. We're talking about these two witnesses are puzzle witnesses. Now we have a chiddush. It's two against one, but one of them is a valid witness, and the two are not valid witnesses. But over here, because we believe not valid witnesses, for example, we'll believe women to testify about if the husband's alive or not. So therefore, these two witnesses are testifying the husband is alive, can contradict the one single witness that is actually a valid witness. That's a chiddush. Look at Reb Nechemia. The Tanya, like Reb Nechemia says, the Tanya was taught in the Brayser. Reb Nechemia, whenever the Torah believes one witness, halacha charev deis. You have to follow the majority of opinions here. These two women, which would normally not be believed in a regular case, because women aren't believed as a witness, but in this case, and in order to allow a woman to return to her husband, or in the cases about if the husband's alive, we do believe women. And we have one witness that's a man that says that he died. We have two witnesses that say that he didn't die. So we have to follow the majority. We have to follow the two. Okay. Some say that that's not the pshat. What's going on over here is slightly different, but it makes a huge difference. If there's one witness that say that he died, even if 100 women show up later, we believe the one man witness. Yeah. So what are we talking about in our Mishnah? Where we say we believe the second witnesses. The first witness that said that the husband died was not a man witness. It was a woman. And then more women show up. So you're going to believe the more women. Reb Nechemia will explain what Reb Nechemia says as follows. Anytime the Torah believes one witness, you follow the majority of opinions. Two women contradicting one woman is like two men contradicting one man. But two women contradicting a man, that's still 50-50. Changes the whole pshat. What would be if it's 50-50? Then she doesn't get divorced. She is allowed to stay married. But two women against one woman, then she would have to get divorced. Two witnesses say that the husband died. And one witness says that he didn't die. Even if she wasn't married yet, she's allowed to go ahead and get married. It's two against one. We believe that the husband died. My kamashmalan. This is a chiddush. That two against one. It's not a chiddush. The Mishnah doesn't have to say that. Two witnesses say that he died, and one says that he didn't. Of course, she's allowed to get married. We believe the two witnesses. Gemara says, no, it is a chiddush because we're not talking about two real witnesses. We're talking about two puzzle witnesses. It says, and that's Reb Nechemia's view. The Gemara says, Hainu. But you just told me that a second ago, Reb Nechemia's view, that you follow the majority by puzzle witnesses. It says, Mao the tema kiyasin basarev deyas l'chumra. I could have thought that when do I follow the majority? That's l'chumra. That's to say that the husband is still alive. She's not allowed to get married. But over here, avalakula alai. I didn't realize that you can follow the majority even to permit her. So Kamash Malan comes to teach us, Reb Nechemia, that she's allowed to get remarried if there's two witnesses that say that the husband died, even though they're both puzzled.
Usually the idea of following majority applies to judges. There's being like witnesses.
Yeah.
Even despite the principle that,
Trey Kamea. Two is like 100. That's usually the rule.
That's what's
Right.
kind of different here.
Yeah, that's the chiddush of Reb Nechemia, that we don't say Trey Kamea. And we don't say that. We also don't say that two witnesses, that one witness is considered like two. You follow? We don't say that. We say that the two is really two and the one is only one. Okay, new Mishnah. Here we're talking about there's two wives to one man. One wife says that the husband died. Other wife says the husband did not die. They always argued. Now they have another argument. These are co-wives, rival wives. So, Zushe Meres Meis Tinasi, the one that said that the husband died, is allowed to get married. V'titl ksubasa. Zushe Meres Laimes. Leitinasi, Leitinasi ksubasa. She doesn't get remarried. She's not allowed. She doesn't get the ksuba. Okay. She has what to complain about. Achasim Meres Meis, Vachasim Meres Nerag. One says that the husband died. Other one said the husband was killed. Well, sounds like the same thing. Oh no, they're contradicting each other. We have contradictory testimonies here. We can't believe any of them. No one can get married. Gemara's going to ask, what about the first case? That wasn't a contradiction when one says that he's alive, another one says that he passed away. It's not a contradiction. That sounds like a contradiction too. Rameya didn't comment there. Okay. I'm sorry. Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon say no. They both agree that the husband's dead. That's good enough for us. They can get married. One witness says that he died, and one witness says that he didn't die. One witness says, one woman says that she died, and one woman said that she didn't die. This is before we gave a heter. They showed up. Harizu like Tinase, they can't get married because before the Beis Din gave a psak, there was already a contradictory witness. So we can't paskin. If we gave the psak already, and the woman, actually we switched it from saying not that the woman was married. Even if she wasn't married, we would still say that the woman is allowed to get married. But here it's before the psak came out. Okay, so now the Gemara says, Timer the Amr Laimes. What's the reason why the woman can't get married? The rival wife, because she said that the husband didn't die. Ha'ishtika. But let's say she was silent. It's a very interesting point. One wife says that the husband died. The other wife says, I don't know. So because our Mishnah says that the other wife says that he didn't die, that's when she's not allowed to get married. It sounds like that if she didn't say anything, then she would be allowed to get married. Tinase. The problem is, what are you talking about? You can't, one rival wife can't testify about for the other rival wife. Gemara says that's not what it means. It says, it's necessary, there's a chiddush here in just saying that when she says that the husband didn't die. What we really think is that the husband died. And this that she says that the husband didn't die. She's just trying to mess up her friend. She's trying to make her into an aguna. But she's making herself into aguna as well. Look at this. The Thomas Nafshim Plishtim Kamra. She says, let me die with the Philistines. Right? That means that she's ready to sacrifice her own life as long as the other people will get hurt.
We just said it. One says he died. The other says he didn't.
To get different treatment. I could have thought though that could have thought that the fact that she says Laimes, we don't believe her that Laimes. We really should say that the husband did die. Why is she coming here and messing up the wife that says that she died, that the husband died? Let her get married. Just don't say anything. Why are you showing up and telling us something? It must be that you're trying to harm the rival wife.
The witnesses just come and testify as facts that they know, not opinions. So the
Right.
first one comes and says, I was in the hills and I saw his body. The second one says, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Oh, so no. So look at it like this. There's two rival wives. One shows up and says the husband died. The other one shows up and says the husband did not die. She doesn't want the first wife to be able to get remarried. Or else she didn't have to show up in Bezdin. She didn't have to say anything. She showed up in Bezdin. Obviously, it's because she's trying to get to harm the other wife. That's why she's coming. She's going out of her way to testify that the other wife can't get married. So maybe we should say that we don't. Not only don't we believe her, but we should allow her to get married. So why is she saying that she's not Thomas Nafshi and Pelishtim? Nafsha, Thomas Nafsha. It's like funny. Switches the pasuk to match. It switches the pasuk to match, unless you can on the side it's edited. Thomas Nafshi. So Kamash Malan that we do believe her. In other words, it's not. The Gemara thought that what this was saying is that if she's silent, then she should be allowed to get married. No, even when she's testifying, she should be allowed to get married. Because it's obviously that she's just trying to harm. The problem is that the original question still stands. How could one woman testify for the other one? The Gemara is not answering that question. The Gemara is making the question even stronger. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, one says that the husband died, and the other one said the husband was killed. So it's Machlekes Reb Meir and Reb Yehuda Reb Meir versus Reb Yehuda and Reb Shimon, students of Reb Akiva. The Gemara asks, Reb Meir Bereisha, why didn't Reb Meir argue in the first case? Reb Meir in the first case should have said, well, you can't believe anyone here. Like he says in the second case, one says he died, one says he was killed. Reb Meir says he can't believe anyone here. In the first case, Reb Meir didn't say that. So Amar Reb Elazar says this is Reb Elazar ben Pedas, the Amira in Eretz Yisrael. He says, B'machlek Shnuya, you know what, you're right. Reb Meir is actually arguing about the first case as well. Obviously, he's arguing about the first. If he's arguing about a contradiction between dead and killed, he's arguing about, he would also say that there's a contradiction between dead and not dead. You can't trust it. Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimoni. So the first statement of the Mishnah where we allow her to get married is not Reb Meir. It's just the view of Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Shimon. That would be a stam and then a machlekes. Stam Mishnah. And then we have Reb Meir and Rabbi Yehuda arguing about it. Rabbi Yechanan Amar Fil Tema Reb Meir. Rabbi Yechanan says it could be Reb Meir. Bafil Reb Meir Maida. The Kol Leimespe, the Shisalava Kashi. If she says that he didn't die, that's not believed at all, because the sages believed the first witness that said that he died, and that becomes like two witnesses. And then when someone comes after and says that he doesn't die, that's just one witness, and that we don't believe. Reb Meir could accept that. The only problem is when they both say that he died. One says this way, one says that way. That becomes an actual contradiction. Tanan, says that they can't get married. Why can't they get married? If you say that it's Reb Meir's view, then there's a contradiction. No one's allowed to get married, which is what the way Reb Meir holds. That was the way Rabbi Lazar explained it. El Rabbi Yochanan Kasha. What's going on in the end of the Mishnah? It says that if one woman says that he died, one woman says that he didn't die, it says they can't get married. If Reb Meir would say that they are allowed to get married, then who's the author of that Mishnah? Rabbi Yochanan that says that Reb Meir wouldn't argue in that case. Kasha. Well, leaves it as a question. Okay. Tomorrow morning.